a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
Grover dropped his coffee cup, which was decorated with pictures of birds. Suddenly, the birds peeled off the cup and flew away, a flock of tiny doves. My rubber rat squeaked. It scampered off the railing and into the trees. Real fur, real whiskers. Grover collapsed next to his coffee, which steamed against the snow. We gathered around him and tried to wake him up. He groaned, his eyes fluttering.
Welcome to Of the Oldest Gods, where we discuss Rick Riordan's role as a godly parent.
I'm Ray from Cabin 12.
And I'm Charlie from Cabin 13.
And I'm Leela from Cabin 7.
Yay, welcome, Leela.
Thank you so much for having me.
We talked about your goddaddy last chapter.
We did, I know. And this is the first time we've seen Apollo in the series, right?
In this book, yeah.
And this, yeah. So that was fun. It's a fun little interpretation that I hadn't considered before.
He's a himbo.
Yeah.
He's just a himbo. And I love it for him.
I love that he's the god of poetry and he's just so shit at it.
So, yeah, it's just like kind of making fun of people who are into poetry, like in general, you know?
I want him to be into slam poetry next. And just like, it just be so cringe.
Oh. Yeah, it's like, what do you even have to possibly, like, you know, weep about, sir? You're a
have
god.
You guys ever seen that, like, parody slam poem where this girl's like, you look at my chest, but that is not all that I am. I have a giant jeep full of bees that I call the Beep Grand Chair Keeper. And I'm afraid to go in it because of all the bees.
What the fuck?
If you haven't seen that video, you should look it up. I don't know how, though. I don't remember what it was called.
This is Ray's plug, apparently. Oh my god, that sounds so weird.
It was wild.
Yeah, but what did we do in this chapter? We went snowboarding with a pig. Was that literal? Like,
literal enough. More literal than some of them. It was only one scene in the chapter once again, but it's got to be like that.
I mean, how large is Thalia's shield?
It's got to be pretty
huge.
big, right? I know that Roman shields are bigger, but I think Greek shields were no slouches. I don't remember. I think that they said it earlier, but
I don't think
I'm
we
looking
got
it
the
up right now.
dimensions per se, but like that wouldn't technically be snowboarding though, right? Because it's, I don't know.
It's like
just more like sledding.
Snow. They're on a board.
Well, it's like whatever you call like.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That activity that Chevy Chase does in National Lampoon Christmas Vacation, you know, like with just like a dish, like a shallow bowl.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Just like you're just in a bowl, and the bowl is a shield, and you're just sitting in it going down a hill.
Yeah. You're in a bowl. You're in a bowl with a bowl, and the bowl is you, and the bowl is the shield. Okay.
Looks like a Greek shield is only about 2 feet 11 inches. And so it's like half as wide as a person. So you could technically get 2 people sitting in there, I think.
Got it.
Percy did say he got cut up though, so
it's fine.
Yeah.
Apparently not very good.
Not a comfortable ride.
Oh boy. This
anyways.
is not a 2-person shield.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like when you go up a water slide and they have like this sign that's like in all caps, 1 person at a time.
Yeah, but then like you and your friend are like, let's go together.
Yeah.
And your butts are so squashed. It's like, why did we do this?
Why are we doing this? Scooch down.
Okay.
Because it's a fun memory.
So So in this chapter, several things do happen, including snowboarding or sledding or whatever you want to call it with a pig, a boar, if we're being technical with it all. The questing party heads to Cloudcroft, New Mexico, or that's where, like, the big thing takes them to. And then they have to get off. It's a little ski town. They don't have enough snow for skiing this season, which is fucking tragic. We have no way to get transportation from this tiny shit-ass town, which is bad, because we have deadlines. Zoe and Grover decide that they need coffee. Understandable. Talia gets antsy, so she has to go, like, ask people about stuff, you know, also understandable. So Percy and Bianca are just, like, standing there awkwardly. And they have a nice little heart-to-heart, and I get emotional over one person saying something nice about Percy.
Oh, yeah.
And then Percy ruins it by revealing that he totally spied on her earlier this book.
He truly
and then
is a seaweed brain in many ways.
Yep. And then shit hits the fan all at once. Grover starts passing out, a mug turns into birds, and then it turns out that skeletons know how to use cell phones, which is truly an omen of the apocalypse.
I think that was my personal favorite part.
Yeah.
I was like, I had to reread it.
Into it.
Like a cat, like, looking at birds. I imagine, like...
Yes!
Oh my God.
Also, they're dressed as cops now, a cab.
Yes.
Percy gets shot in the back, but it's fine. Magic items are good.
So it was only scary for, like, a second.
I'm glad that people at least seemed worried about him.
Yeah.
And then a 30-foot tall wild boar shows up and kills the skeleton, so that's cool, but now we have to deal with a boar. Percy tries to get Talia over the train bridge, but it turns out that she's scared of heights, which we do have to mock her for just a little bit. So they end up snowboarding on Aegis down the cliff. We already talked about that. This would be a good action scene in a TV show, perhaps.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait for that.
And then they decide, or Grover lets them know that the intention is that they ride the boar, as it is a gift from the great god Pan. So that's sure something. And that's the reveal we end the chapter on. Ta-da.
I just drink every time Grover says, "The wild! It's a gift!" Like,
you would die just this chapter. Only this chapter, but you would die.
I think it's like 4 or 5 times. It's a significant amount of times. And I knew it had something to do with Pan, but I didn't know the wild was like a nickname for him.
well, like he's the god of the wild. That's his whole thing. He's the god of what, like, forests and animals.
It almost feels like in this series, nature is like its own like supernatural force that Pan influences, but isn't necessarily like completely just him. It's like it almost has like some naturalistic spiritualism, which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know that Greek mythology has any of that going on, but I feel like this series does.
All right, I see that.
I feel like Pan and the wild are like interconnected, but at the same time, it feels like it's sort of its own thing.
You know,
Charlie is giving me a look.
my look is just that I'm like, I feel like there's so much that I can't say.
Oh, okay. Well, that's great. Good to know that there are many things. I'm just talking out my ass over here. Charlie actually knows things.
Yeah, because I remember the rest of the series.
I'm sorry.
That's kind of fun, though, that you like, we've got like an expert and what's it called?
Don't get it twisted.
No.
I've read this before. It was just like a while ago.
Yeah, many moons. Well, this came out in 2007, I think. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
God,
and I used to
I don't even
reread
want to
the
say how
books
many years ago
every
that was.
year. So
Yeah, I hate that it came out in 2007 because it feels like it came out like, you know what I mean? It's like, I feel like my generation of like born on the cusp of 2000, or not really born, but like started to come into myself around that time. I feel like I'm like poisoned by my parents' perception, and that 20 years ago feels like the 80s. When that is
Totally.
not
Yeah.
the situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
20 years ago
Yeah.
was the 80s.
I first read
Yeah.
these books 13 years ago. Think about that. Think
It
about
was
that.
many moons ago. Yeah, when this
Disgusting.
when this series came out, I was already on to like the Hunger Games type situation at that point, I feel like.
I didn't read Hunger Games till high school, so
yeah. So well, I mean, yeah. I think I was a little too. I just felt like maybe I was a little too old for the series when it came out, so I kind of missed the boat. So I've just been kind of. I think I maybe read the first one many moons ago. And then I was like, needs more kissing or something. So moved on to other things.
You know, eventually maybe things will happen, but now
but it's just going to be
too young.
Cho-chan Harry Potter levels of awkward, and you know it.
The wet kiss.
Oh, such a
god,
a wet snog.
That has many meanings, as Percy and his water powers exist.
Oh my god, totally. That was a great joke I made.
Do not say that to me.
You're welcome.
Anyways.
Well,
yeah, I find it really interesting that the first time you tried to read this, you, like, bounced off of it. And I've heard other people say that that happened to them, too. Like, reading it, like, as an adult or an older teen, of, like, it just did not click with them because of, like, the age of the protagonists, or just, like, the writing is pretty simplistic, even though I have always found it compelling. You know, a lot of that is nostalgia. As you are a guest on our podcast, I guess I'd like to kind of ask, like, is this the first time that you're reading this portion of this book?
Yes, it is.
We
this is my first time.
For us. She's here because I asked.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, I'm interested. I know many people who really love this series, so obviously, hence the interest for a podcast. So, yeah, so I try to give it another chance, and I will let you know that so far this is my favorite one. So I think this is my favorite one so far.
A lot of people have,
is that a
have
common?
been saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the third one and the fifth one are the ones that I hear people love the most, usually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm really enjoying, like, a lot of, like, Thalia time. Her character's really fun for me.
Nice.
Zoe Nightshade is great. I, like, think her name is dumb, and I just have to say... I have to say one thing. This can't be the first time this has come up, so I apologize if I'm bringing back old news, but have you heard the audiobook?
Yeah.
Yes, this is not the first time this has come up, but please continue.
This is the
I love hearing about it.
Of the pod. It's the anti-plug.
Lord.
It's so bad.
Good. It's like, okay, it's like, remember, like, the worst parts of every Disney Channel show? Like, just, like, the worst parts. Like, very predictable. It's like the tone of voice that he uses.
Yeah.
He makes the story, luckily the story holds up so well that, like, I just was driving so much this week and it was the most convenient way, and I just got over it and was like, I can do it. But we got in the car to go somewhere yesterday and it was still on, and Jason was like, what the fuck is this? And because he was like, absolutely. You guys, when he does the blackjack voice, I want to die. I wish it's so cringe. He goes like, he's like, no problem, Percy.
No.
I'm not exaggerating.
No.
That's literally what he does. And then when he does Grover.
What is our blackjack voice? What is our thoughts on blackjack?
Blackjack should sound like a New York mobster. She'd be going, "Hey, boss, how you doing?"
Oh God, he was like,
that was terrible, but
no, I like that so much. I feel like that would be so much funnier. He's just like, no problem, boss.
It's so awful. My God, like I re-went through the first two books to hop onto this book in the pod. And so I was switching between the audiobook and reading it depending on like whatever was most convenient at the moment. And my God, the audiobook makes it an actively less charming story. It does. We need a re-recording. I agree. It now.
And then he does something with Zoe Nightshade too. Like, I think he misunderstands her character because he gives her like a very like unlikable kind of like haughty Hermione Granger attitude, which is I don't know if that's really what they were going for. Like, he's just like, no. Like, that's like how she's like, no, it is thy quest. Like, with a really bad British accent.
And I feel like I can understand that impulse to give her that sort of voice.
Yeah.
British, like Hermione. I don't know.
But we just learned last chapter that she's most likely not British. So, like, that's a weird choice,
too. Yeah. They mentioned, like, olive skin. He says something about, like, a Persian princess.
But yeah, from an American point of view, a person who talks fancy is British accent,
Of course.
right?
That's true.
Yes,
That's a
you're right.
localization thing. True. I know about that because I watch anime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I can see where that comes from, but it does sound
It's silly.
not quite right.
Yeah.
Nope.
It makes it, I feel like it makes it a bit sillier than the intention. And she is silly. Like, it's silly that she talks
like,
old like that.
This is a silly story, but it also, just listening to the audiobook, it does feel like the story is actively more juvenile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, and then when he does Grover's voice, he does something kind of like, what is he does, it sounds like Scowabunga, man. Like that type of voice. He's like, let me find like any line.
He's like a surfer bro.
Yes. He's like, it's near the wild.
What the fuck?
Look out, Percy.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it so much. I will
just,
pay
like,
money
my
for
God.
a new audiobook. I will pay money.
Charlie, the Tyson voice, last book.
Ooh.
I know.
So fucking
I
bad.
keep hearing everybody's
Was
talking
it
about
like-
the bad Tyson voice.
Was it like he was kind of like making fun, like a person with disabilities type voice? I feel like it could go there if it was this guy.
I don't think that was the intention of the voice.
That sounds
But
like
given the
what
way that is like a media trope, it definitely comes off a bit like that. Yeah.
Ooh, yikes. Oh,
don't
man.
love it. Not great.
Don't love it. I'm just like, I was really worried at first. I was like, please don't be Rick. Please don't be Rick. I was like, it's gonna make me not like you if this is really
who's
you.
the person who does it?
I can't remember his name. It's somebody, some voiceover guy that I've never heard of before.
I have avoided looking him up this whole time because I'm like, damn, we are ragging on this man so much.
I want
I
to
know.
call him out. I want to call
As I
him
say.
out.
Hey, if you're listening to this podcast, if you did this voiceover, honestly, I don't have any power, but I will speak for the group and say we'd love to have you on and just kind of pick your brain about why you made the decisions that you did.
Just why?
Hit us up.
That would be honestly incredible. I would feel so fucking awkward.
Yeah, it would
I would be like,
we need
please
to have
don't listen to our podcast.
We need to have somebody like kind of mean with us, with you, probably like get Tina on maybe, or like force Brooke to read it and have her like, no, that's too mean. Brooke will make
is so mean.
a grown man cry in 2 seconds. So
Yeah.
I love her, but
Tina
still-
could intimidate anybody.
that's also
Like,
true.
Yeah. Oh my god. Well, to go
All right,
back
Charlie,
to the,
you ready?
I had a comment about the Zoe Nightshade name.
Yes.
Because you're making fun of her name.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it really is so extra, but like I've heard other podcasters say like she is Rick's OC, do not steal. Like she has to have that extra kind of name like that. That's her whole thing.
But if you are reading these books and you're 12, like the desired target audience, I think it comes off as like pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
I'm down for it.
When you're 12,
Sure.
You're like Zoe Nightshade.
Anyways,
Ooh.
Ooh. That sounds really Greek and like all of the other names. Oh wait. Oh no, it sounds Persian. Oh no. Oh wait. It's Nightshade because she like the plant. Why?
Yeah, she's a wilderness person. Yeah, it totally checks out. Yeah, a lot of characters' names are puns.
Yes.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you've noticed, but
This
yeah,
is
so
my
it
favorite
doesn't-
thing to
It's not
talk
like it
about.
doesn't fit in, at least.
I guess you're right. I
Listen.
think I just needed to talk it out maybe to get
Listen,
there.
Grover Underwood.
What?
Grove
Underwood.
Under the wood.
Oh, Grove. Okay.
Grove
Yeah,
Grove
got
Under
it.
the wood.
I also did not notice that. Charlie just really likes puns.
Listen. I've spent a lot of time on the Percy Jackson wiki, and I look at the etymologies, and people are connecting the dots, be like, this name is like this, and I'm like, yeah, I love that. I love that shit. Anyway, God, let's get to this section. Well, in case you missed it, but we only have one myth. It's the boar. It's the boar whose name I have to pronounce.
Oh boy.
Erymanthian.
I think that's
Erymanthian
right.
boar.
Yeah,
I think
That seems good to me.
yeah. Yeah. So the mythical creature, just a wild boar, just a fucking wild boar. Look, like all of these words: shaggy and wild, tameless, boar, vast,
Okay.
weight. foaming
what
jaws.
I'm loving,
What the fuck?
looking at this wiki, is that every single thing that you just said after it has an annotation, which is just like
So
the,
many.
have you ever seen the Warrior Cats wiki? All of the character pages look like that, where like after every single like descriptor, there's an annotation to like which page from which book it's from.
That's so weird.
It's just, I mean, I guess that just means it's super secure, right? Like literally every single line has been fact checked and and found.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's definitely better than some of the other pages I've seen where it's like citation needed, and I'm like, but you must explain this. Please explain this very weird sentence. I need it. Yeah, so once again, let's take a guess, listeners. Say it with me. Who's the hero who defeated this boar? Heracles. It's Heracles.
That one guy.
Yeah, I don't know. That guy, he's like the Starbucks of Greek mythology. He's just fucking everywhere.
He's everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Charlie pointed out to me, because I didn't really get it until we were talking about this book, but each of these books, Percy follows the story of a Greek hero. So this time we're just doing Heracles, but Heracles himself is coming up a lot more than, say, in the last book, which was an Odysseus tale, where we did not really talk about Odysseus.
Oh, yeah, true.
I mean, Odysseus came up enough in that book.
Yeah.
Like with Grover and the wedding trail, like undoing that. That's a Penelope thing. And
no. I'm just saying his name didn't come up. I'm saying that the story follows it, but I'm saying that like this time Heracles himself is tied into like the themes, into Percy's like personal story and growth. And that's going to be a whole thing.
And the first book was Perseus, of course, because Percy.
Of course.
And I don't think Perseus even came up very much in the first book either. Like, maybe
except
once.
for we talked about how his name is because Sally wanted him to be named after the only Greek hero with a happy ending.
Oh.
It's so good. It's so happy. But also sad. Yeah, so let's see. How did Heracles defeat this one? So he chases it. He chased the boar with shouts. I'm just imagining this man just like running around and shouting at the boar. I think that's great.
Like Skyrim style, or just like straight up shouting? Like, do his shouts do damage?
That's a question. I don't know.
Yeah, but I am imagining some sheepdog energy with this.
Hey.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is a pig, right? Like, pig calling? That's what he's doing.
Yeah. It's like, what is it? How do you call pigs? It's like a funny sound, right?
Suey!
Suey!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just imagine that. That's what Heracles is doing in this moment. And then he binds it in chains and then just, like, carries it back, to Eurystheus, who he's doing all these labors for. And that's pretty much it, honestly. I mean, like, he's a strong dude. It's not that hard. It's just a boar. That's the problem with this one. It's, like, so simple. Oh, wait, there's something about Artemis here. Is it connected to her? The boar might have lived on a mountain that was sacred to Artemis? I like that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of an Artemis connection there, and this is like the big Artemis book. But honestly, there isn't a whole lot about this boar. I don't even know who its parents are. That's the one weird thing. That there's usually like is this the child of like those big monster parents? But this one, no fucking clue.
Interesting.
That's hilarious to me. Like, I don't even know who this boar's parents are. What's the deal?
Well, wasn't it,
there's
Ariadne's,
always a listing of those.
Was it, what's her name? Ariadne's sister, or Ariadne's mom. Was Ariadne's mom's name again?
Passenger?
Go, Charlie. That sounds right. Yeah, she gave birth to a fucking boar. No, fucking bull.
Minotaur.
Right. But he didn't have, and Ariadne, I feel like he didn't have a lot of human features in the book that I read.
It's like a half and half situation.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh God, which half? That's
hard
always
to
the
tell.
question,
it really
isn't it?
depends on which depiction you're
Yeah,
looking at.
usually
Like,
the head
if
is
it's even
the
half
bull
and half.
head.
The
at
boar,
least.
yeah.
Yeah, but, she had sex with a bull, so It's gonna be half and half, thereabouts.
Who made that happen again? Who was up to trickery with that one?
God, it was like...
Was it Zeus?
It was like
She pissed
Poseidon?
somebody off.
No, she didn't piss it off. Minos didn't sacrifice the bull to Poseidon. And then Poseidon was like, hey, Aphrodite,
Fuck your wife.
I think... can you curse this man's wife?
I see. Because I was like, I know Aphrodite's involved, but I didn't think it was her, like, deal. Okay, that all makes sense.
Yeah,
It all checks out, and also is horrible.
Story is so horrifying. It's so horrifying.
Yeah, I mean, I love it personally because Pasiphae is like, hey, Daedalus, can you make me a furry suit so I can go fuck this bull? Because it won't fuck me while I look human. So...
Okay, valid point.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
That's why it's my favorite.
Country girls make do.
Yeah, so anyway, Pasiphae is a furry. Moving on. Oh my god.
But yeah, as far as we can tell, it's just some boar. It's pretty big for some reason.
Usually, they're like, it's a monster that's related to, like, Typhon and Echidna, because they parent all of the monsters. But this one is just like, it's a boar from a place that terrorized people. Who cares?
In the context of Percy Jackson, I feel like that makes some sense to me that it would just be like a boar, because, like, we're saying that it's a wild thing. So it's just like an actual boar that's not even a monster, it's just really big.
It's just
I feel like the size alone makes it monstery, though. No?
Yeah.
Right, like to a human being, it's a monster, but
true.
But like
To a
I'm saying,
demigod,
like,
no.
Like to them, it's clearly a monster too. But like, genealogically,
yes, okay,
it's not like related to monsters. It's just like a wild thing.
yes.
Yeah, and
It's like how when you're going on an adventure in D&D, sometimes you just have to fight some wolves. They're not like monsters, but
sometimes you just do. You gotta. Yeah, and it already has connections to, like, the wild thing. Like, it on that page, it was mentioning that Artemis was, like, the goddess of, like, the wild and things, and that's why it's like, oh, we're gonna sprinkle in some Pan here, because that's the whole wild thing here. The wilderness? God. Alright, well... We're in Cloudcroft, New Mexico now.
Cloudcroft is such a funny name. I'm sure that that's a real town, and I shouldn't say that.
Is.
I looked it up. Yeah, it has, like, it said currently 674 inhabitants, so it's this tiny little town.
Rick, how could you do this to this place? I wonder if he's ever been to Cloudcroft and he was like, hey, this kind of sucks. I'm gonna call them out.
He definitely bought the rat. I think that's the thing. Rick definitely bought a rat from that store.
It seems like a very real story. Yeah. He felt bad for the guy. He seemed like he hadn't talked to anybody all day, so he bought a rat to be nice.
I love that. I love how Rick characterizes places. You know, he makes them seem so human and real.
Yeah. Yeah, so they just want to get the fuck out of this town, because there's nothing here. There's no skiing, so, like, it's not like we can have a fun little side quest there. But let's get the fuck out. Oh, but wait, there's coffee. And Grover and Zoe need coffee. They are the adults on this quest. They need coffee.
Yep. Yeah, don't they bring, like, Percy and Bianca hot chocolates?
Yeah, because they're the kids.
That's adorable.
Zoe and Grover are like mom and dad on this quest.
Yeah, it's an interesting turn of events.
Oh my goodness.
Also, I think that it's funny that, like, they split off together. You know, it almost feels like they're just, like, getting along, kind of.
Bros. My new favorite bro TP. Zoe and Grover, when Grover's not being a creep. He's not being a creep right now, so he's okay. They're looking around. They go into the store, like we said. I, again, love that rubber rat. Love it. I used to have a rubber rat, too, so I understand this.
Oh, so specific.
Yeah.
Was it because of this series?
I don't remember why. Like, I have no recollection why. I'm just like, I definitely had one at some point.
Maybe it's a thing. I don't know.
You know, Halloween is coming up at the time of this recording, at least. So maybe y'all will find some rubber rats just at the stores. You never know.
I can set them up in my yard and freak out all the squirrels.
Excellent.
Yeah.
We support.
we have like a little decorative spider that the cats like to play with. And it's, you know, like a reasonable and yet very large size for a spider. And so we keep being like, someday we're gonna see this on the ground. And Teddy said that their fear is that they're going to go to pick it up to throw it for the cat, and then it will turn out to be a real spider.
Oh,
Yeah,
I couldn't have that in my house.
I guess that's a pretty valid fear. It's terrifying.
No fear. One fear. Spider be real. Yeah, so
All right.
Bianca says a nice rat. I love that icebreaker.
Oh, Bianca. Yeah, Talia left. She grumped off because they can't find any transportation. And so the clerk at the store tells them this. And then she's like, I'm going to go ask around. And Percy's like, but he said, and she's like, I know. I'm asking anyways. And he's like, I get it.
She's
I
pissed
get it,
at
bro.
him.
Go ahead.
So, like they had a conversation last chapter and she got so pissed at him. So I understand. She's like, nope, I don't want to interact with you right now. Just let me be mad, okay?
Too many feelings. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, so Bianca's feeling immortal.
Yeah, I love this conversation a lot.
Yeah.
The world is just slowed down.
I think that, you know, what she tells us about being part of the Hunters is really interesting. I think that, you know, her explaining to Percy how she was feeling about Nico and Percy being able to relate to that is really interesting. Like I said, I am, like, a little fucked up over her, like, giving him a compliment and him being like, no one's done that all book.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And, I mean, he hasn't even...
And how Percy
even
gets so
had him
existential
see-
about, like,
I don't know
wow,
if you can
she's
hear me.
immortal. Like, she's never gonna change, and, like, this could happen again 100 years from now, and I would be long dead, and she'd still be, like, 12? Fucking wild.
Yeah, that is crazy. Like, he's right. That's really interesting. I really like this conversation. But yeah, specifically the thing that she says to him is that she felt okay leaving Nico at camp without her because she knew that there would be people like him there, so he'd be fine. And I'm like, okay.
He's a good guy.
He is. It's nice for him to hear that, like, people or someone trusts him, you know? That he's more than just, you know, like, a very good swimmer with a seaweed brain.
Even though he screwed up his rescue mission, she's just like, yeah, like, you're still a good guy. You have a good heart. You tried to rescue us, even though it failed.
Even though I knocked you down and captured the flag.
Yeah. Capture the flag be that way, though.
Yeah.
One time I got dragged under a house once.
Oh my god. Holy shit.
Yeah. I don't really remember the details, but I do remember being under a house. And then after that, I cried, but then, like, we all went inside and ate birthday cake, and it was fine. Being a child
like that.
is wild.
Yeah. Imagine if you were imagine doing shit exactly like that, except you all had superpowers.
God.
And swords.
And also real weapons.
Absolutely not.
Like, you can actually get hurt and die, but
yeah,
you do all the
yeah,
same
that
shit.
actually explains a lot of things about these books when you think about it.
Why
There's
are
so
they
many
so
times.
traumatized?
Yeah, they're very lucky. Like, there's many times when they could just be, like, one hair away from a very sharp weapon or a monster or a cliff or death. So many times, and they're just like, well, escaped death again.
And that's why the life expectancy for demigods is so low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unsurprising.
It's not great. So we get a little bit more backstory on Bianca. She's like explaining, she lived in DC for a little bit, and then, where she went to some hotel for a few weeks, and then came back up to Maine, and she never knew her parents. She thought they were dead. Just lawyers and money.
Yeah, they were just, pushed around by lawyers from some trust fund that apparently their parents left them. And so it's really vague, but like Percy says, that kind of makes sense if you're half-bloods, demigods. It's like a lot of shit can get covered up by the mist. A lot of things can be, like, really weird and vague because there's no real way to explain them to mortals. Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking rich kids, though. Like, they got lawyers and money.
But yeah, the important part of this story is that she's been basically raising Nico.
Super
Since
rich kids
a young
with nothing
child.
but fake friends. You ever hear that song?
I don't know that song,
Oh.
but I loved that.
Frank Ocean. It's called Rich Kids. Highly recommend.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's understandable why she was just like, I needed to join the Hunters to have my own thing and not be a big sister and defined by that and that alone.
Just like,
And
yes.
Percy's like, I became an elder brother last year, so I feel like I understand some of those feelings.
He's like, same. Like, oh, okay, fine. We'll give you this one, Percy. Whatever makes you feel like you can relate to someone is fine.
Okay, that is real ADHD shit, though. Every time that someone tells you a story, you're like, okay,
Me too.
I have something vaguely similar that I can tell you because that's the only way that I think that you'll believe that I am actually empathizing with you.
Yeah,
Damn.
This is how ADHD works. Someone tells you something and you're like, oh, well, I experienced something like this. You have to bring up your own experience to continue the conversation.
Every time. I don't. Yeah, it's really weird how that's just an ADHD thing.
I don't know.
It's bizarre.
But in our friend group, like with Christina and the gang, like whenever I or anyone apologizes about that, like, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to get distracted and make your story about me. She's always like, no, you're not allowed to apologize because in our friend group, that is how we bond and it's fine. And I'm like, yes, thank you. Thank you for not judging me. Because it is definitely something that I've like become aware of and I'm very self-conscious of. Just like what I'm doing even now. So.
Oh yeah, no. Me too, bro. But the thing is that because my brain works like that,
Yeah.
I actually appreciate it when people do that because it gives me the impression that you do have like some understanding.
Yeah.
Because that is my worst fear is like people not getting what I'm trying to say to them.
Exactly. And
because it happens way too often.
And I think that's like why we do that is because like we just fear that they're not going to understand what we're talking about or like they'll think we're being a certain way. So perception.
Yep.
Yeah. Some fun ADHD things.
Speaking of self-esteem, Bianca's got tons right now because she's living her best life.
She is living her best life. I'm so happy for her.
She looks great. She's literally glowing.
She's immortal, you know?
True. I guess it's the immortal glow. And not even 1 second. Like, she's like, Zoe's Nightshade is like, in the narration voice, "Thy must forsake a life of boys forever." Whenever he says boys, he's like, boys. No more boys.
Oh god, that sounds so fucking
No
painful.
boys, unless they're cute.
Yeah, and she says it like in a way that I feel like the characters like thinks that's kind of like, that's messed up, just like Percy. Like, I'm a boy and I'm great. What? But Bianca doesn't hesitate for even 1 second. She's like, yeah, that sounds good.
Yep.
Sign me up. And Percy's like, what? Are you sure? But you know what I don't like? There hasn't, at least so far, been any talk of like, anyone saying like, you're really young to make this decision, or like, you'll regret this. Like, don't you want to end up with a husband? Like anything. Like I was sort of expecting something that would make me irritated.
Like,
I know, but like
to be fair, they're not thinking about that. Maybe if there was an adult here besides Chiron, they'd be like, "Are you sure about that?" But we're not interacting with adults. They're all
You're
kids.
right. It's all kids, and they're like, fair enough. Girls are gross,
do you.
and you know, like, of course, you would just all want to be together. That makes sense.
The hunters all just have cooties in their corner.
Exactly.
Like, Percy definitely does have issues with that decision, but at least they don't seem like misogynistic
Right.
issues.
He's just like, I don't understand. Like, I'm a boy and I'm nice. Boys can be nice friends. Like, why no boys?
And also your brother, but we've talked about this like so many times.
We talked about that like way too much during that chapter. Honestly, I'm like
about
100% ready to get
decision.
back into it, which means that we need to stop now.
Okay.
Like,
Are you just
the
talking
decision of like why she like she explains why she chooses the whole like don't want to just be a big sister. Just the fandom is very divisive about Bianca because most of them are like she's kind of shit because she left her brother, but she wanted to be her own person. We support
I
her.
respect her decision.
Yeah, like, that's an entirely valid thing for her to want. I want her to be happy as her own person. Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't mean Nico's not gonna have trauma about it, but, like, I support her.
But she's also a kid. Yeah. We cannot get into this anymore.
No.
But this also kind of, like, you know, I had been thinking about it, but I don't think we have talked about it. Like, what a weird time this is to become a hunter. Like, Artemis left, and now she's fucking kidnapped. And Bianca's just, like, dealing with all of that. Like, I don't think she even got to, like, spend one day with Artemis.
No, she spent
You know?
5
Yeah.
minutes with her, and then Artemis left.
And she's like, I'm full of god power, but I don't really know her personally.
Yeah. I feel bad for her.
Yeah, that's gotta be, like, weird.
Yeah. Well, so then Percy ruins this conversation by being like, oh yeah, I heard you guys talking about the general. You were eavesdropping!
Yeah.
Damn, Percy.
Also, I love how people always immediately just call out the hat, because they know that he has it.
Yeah.
They're like, the fucking hat.
God damn it, the fucking hat!
That
It's
fucking
like,
Yankees cap.
It's not like What We Do in the Shadows, the TV show. Have you guys seen that? He's
I
got
have not. I've seen the film, though, and I
was-
see posts about it on Tumblr.
Yeah,
I
you
was
should.
forced to watch a few episodes at Christina's house. 'Cause
I'm
it was
sure.
just on.
Yeah. It's pretty ridiculous, but there's this like cursed hat made out of like witch flesh or something like that that's like clearly cursed, because like who would do that? And one of the characters played by Matt Berry, who's very funny, like loves it, and he's like, it's my favorite hat. And it's a bad impression, but it constantly like causes horrible things immediately to happen to everyone around him and himself, but he's like so fucking stubborn about it, and he's just like, no, it's my hat. And his wife's like, will you get rid of the fucking hat? And it reminds me of just like their immediate response to just being like, God damn that fucking hat.
Yeah.
Curse the fucking hat. But Percy's just like, he's like, he meant well, you know? He's just like having kind of like a Harry Potter and Order of the Phoenix moment, and just being, you know, like, no one will tell me what's going on. I don't know what's going on, and the girls won't talk to me.
Nobody ever tells Percy what's going on. It really do be like that.
He always asks questions, though. They
yeah.
just don't talk to
Okay.
him.
What's rough is that he straight up just was not thinking about it. He was just trying to make conversation.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, Zoe seems to trust you. Like,
It's the ADHD.
like paying her back some of the compliment. And then like, yeah, trying, since we're like closer now, what were you guys talking about? And then
like,
it's like,
Okay.
Excuse me?
Percy. It's like, you're like, this is like the first time you guys have ever talked, like, and he's like, well, I guess now that we're best friends and practically related, isn't it awesome? Like, what were you guys talking about? Can I be in your inside like little group now? And she's like, no, you can't sit with us.
Oh my god.
I do find this conversation interesting also in that we do not get a lot of Bianca personality, like, up to this point.
Yeah.
And so Percy's like, I kind of like her. And as the reader, I'm also like, I kind of like her.
Me too. And I'm also like, I'm scared now. I'm worried.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You should always
You
be
feeling some
worried.
things?
No, I'm just worried about her as a character, because all of a sudden we're giving her attention, and it's feeling a little Cedric-y. Wow, if I could stop quoting Harry Potter, that would be my dream.
It's almost like you're on a Harry Potter podcast.
No. Yeah, but it's feeling Cedric-y, and I'm scared. Charlie, tell me it's gonna be okay.
We were just talking about how she's immortal. I'm sure it's fine.
Oh yeah.
Fine. Everything.
Oh yeah, she's immortal. Wait, but did they say like unless? Wasn't there an unless?
They can fall in battle.
there's-
They just don't age.
Yeah.
Okay, like
So-
elves, like in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
yeah.
exactly like that. So
Okay,
so imagine
got it.
she has like the elf sight now.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
they don't sleep now.
I don't think any of that is canon.
No, it's definitely canon now. No, hunters of Artemis are just elves from Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good to me.
What do your elf eyes see, Bianca?
Okay, we gotta keep going, boys. We've been here.
So, the next important thing is that Percy gets a blueberry muffin to continue with the blue food. Did anyone else notice
He really
this?
enjoys his muffin. I'm happy for him.
I did not catch that, but I mean, how creative, because there are only so many blue foods. So
Indeed.
You gotta get some blue food in there.
But it's nice that, like, it seems like Grover would have gotten him that muffin on purpose. Like, I don't know how else that would have happened specifically. And it's
definitely
very
Grover.
nice.
They're besties.
yes, they are. They get each other. It's very sweet. But I mean, so was there anything wrong with the muffin? I mean, I was a little concerned about that coffee shop, like, after the cup came alive.
Well, I
it
think
seems like the muffin's good.
Okay.
I think the cup has to do with what happens next. There's a gust of springtime in the middle of winter as Grover is trying to do another nature spell with his acorns. And then he just... is this when he just, like, passes out, kind of, and starts groaning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The coffee cup, the birds pictured on it, peel off and fly away, and the rubber rat comes to life and scampers off. And
I think maybe...
And then Grover collapses. That is the word used.
Yeah, I think maybe that's a sign of what happens later in this chapter. Could be, like, a sign of the wilds? I don't know.
We get it, Charlie. It's the wild.
It's the wild!
We're feeling it.
It's the god Pan!
The great god Pan is not dead, I guess, maybe. Hopefully.
Wait, I'm just imagining, like, you know the movie God's Not Dead, but it's like
That's
the
what I
great
was
god
thinking.
Pan's not dead.
God.
Holding up like a sign.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
I need an edit of this now.
The fan art of just Grover holding up that sign.
God is not dead.
Yep. I was forced to watch that movie in my high school, Catholic school.
I'm so sorry. That's a bit evangelical for the Catholics, no?
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought y'all were cooler than that, no?
It was not a
Catholics
cool
are never
stock.
cool. I'm sorry, Charlie, but
I think
It's
my
not
perspective, I'm coming from the perspective of, like, a really evangelical, like, flannel church people, and anything is cooler than that, so.
Don't make the flannel evil. How dare.
I know, how dare they? Exactly, how dare.
Flannel is for the bisexuals.
Yeah, nope, also for people in the praise band.
Hate that. No.
Yep.
wow. Sounds kind of incredible, TBH. My church was just boring as shit growing up.
Yeah, it seems really cool, like, until everybody there is like, how do I describe it? Okay, have you ever been inside a Bath and Body Works?
Yeah.
Okay, and you know how, like, everyone gives you so much attention in customer service, but, like, you kind of wish they would back off, like, a little bit. You're like, why are you this happy? That's not... And that's how everybody is there. And this kind of culty. And then you find out that, like, they low-key don't support any type of LGBTQ nothing. So I just feel like they're a bunch of fakers. Uh-oh. Hot take.
Is it
Love you, Mom
that
and Dad.
hot? Is it that hot?
Well, I don't know. I started Mormon bashing on the last episode I was on of Restricted Section, and Tina was like, but we are accepting of all faiths here, and I was just like, except Mormons. It's fine.
I'm accepting of all people.
Yes.
But the Mormon faith is a cult. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Guys.
There are
Thank
a few
you.
faiths that are a bit cultish.
Many.
Yeah.
And,
you know, in fact,
I couldn't think.
Exerting that level of control over your congregation is fucked up.
right.
religion
right.
is a cult.
There is
By definition.
There's a Mormon temple that was just built in near where my parents live in Glen Allen, Virginia, near Richmond. And it is in the middle of a suburb. It is tacky. It is a giant, like, with columns, Greek-style columns.
Oh my God.
Across the facade, as if it's ancient Petra, but it's like stark white. And on the top, there's a very, very, very tall pointy steeple. And on the top of the steeple, like some kind of gaudy Christmas tree, there is a huge, like, I want to say 10-foot angel. It's like not Gabriel. It's like a B-side angel that's really important to Mormonism with a horn and then like a golden ball at the end of the horn, and it's just sitting there in the middle of like a quiet suburban neighborhood. And
likely Moroni.
Yes, I think it's Moroni. You're right.
Yeah, that guy.
It is.
Oh boy.
I was like, is that my good main man Joey? Joe
No,
Smith?
Moroni talks to Joey, or maybe a guy before Joey. I can't remember.
Brigham.
I think Brigham Young is the guy after Joe.
I think you're right.
What is happening here?
Sorry.
This is now a Mormon research podcast.
In high school, I went to Mormon church a few times because my very bestest friend was like deep in the paint.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason that I became entirely a-religious. But
awesome.
I don't have time to get into that.
Definitely.
And also, I really like the musical The Book of Mormon. So
it's true.
So I'm in some places. Okay.
This was such a fun
my final word on religions and cults is that you can have a religion and a spirituality and beliefs without controlling people's lives and finances.
Indeed.
That is the important part of this. Thank you and good night. So moving to the
what are we
ACAB,
talking about? Percy Jackson, I think?
Pan.
That's technically religious. So
let's move on to the ACAB, because what are they called? The Skeletal Warriors are coming out after them now, and they're in the police uniforms. Fuck that. Percy's like, wow, I used to want to shoot a gun, and then I saw these guys coming at me with guns. You know? That is actually kind of a relatable statement. As a child, you're like, action movies are cool. And then it's oh, that's scary. No, I don't want that, fam. I'm good.
Yeah, it's just one line, but when you actually think about the trauma of a child having a gun pointed at them, it's like...
No, fam. Not for me.
Pretty fucked up.
Don't like it.
Last night at dinner, my dad said, something like, he was like, there was some sale at Green Top, but they wouldn't let me in, and something. And then my mom's like, why were you at Green Top? And he was like, I was hoping to pick up some more ammo. And I was like, I just couldn't help it. It came out loud. I was like, ew.
Oh my God.
And he just looked at me and he was like, ew? And I was like, I'm sorry. It was an inside thought. I'm sorry. I hate that you hunt. I hate it so much. I hate it. So yeah, ACAB.
ACAB, just no guns. Let's not do guns here.
Let's not.
Swords only.
We could.
Yeah.
There are so many
Swords and
things that
bows.
we could be getting into right now that I just like straight up. We do not have time.
We don't.
And also, it would bring me the fuck down.
Like,
We've already
right.
talked about
But,
religious
yeah,
cults. Let's not keep going with that.
Yeah, let me just say real fast that like the police pointing guns at children is almost too fucking real at this point.
Yeah.
You're right. I think maybe this scene would have been written differently if it had come out today, for sure.
Yep, I definitely agree with that statement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Grover is still kind of just like moaning and stuff because, you know, the wilds. Something is happening with that. And these skeletons...
It's interesting to me that Thalia gets kind of nerfed this chapter. Her shield has come in clutch so many times, and the skeletons just do not give a fuck, and the boar later, it just makes it angry.
Well, you know what? It can't always help. Sometimes there have to be, like, weaknesses to every weapon, you know? Mm-hmm. And, like...
Oh, of course.
These warriors are too focused on what they want.
To go back to our D&D terms, these skeletons are immune to fright, and the boar passed the intimidation check.
I like that. Good shit. So Grover says there's a gift from the wild that's here. But you know, it's not gonna be the skeletons. I
didn't remember this, so I kept being like, I like the anticipation is growing because I'm like, what's it gonna be? What's
happening? Oh no. So they're just fighting. They're fighting again. They're fighting more. The coat. The coat being bulletproof. Like, fucking love that. Like, Percy, you didn't realize that it was going to be bulletproof from what happened when you fought the lion?
When you tried to... Well, he didn't shoot it with bullets, Charlie, to be fair.
But they shot at it with a lot of different things. Like, he shot at it shot at it with his sword. That's not the term there.
Yeah. He did a stab.
He tried to stab it and it just, like, flung off of it, so...
Okay, so that was the episode that we talked about D&D a lot. So now I'm back in it because the lion pelt is clearly immune to piercing and slashing damage. But we decided it's not immune to bludgeoning damage, which you can technically say a bullet is because part of the actual piercing is not even necessarily what injured you with a bullet. Like, the bruising from being hit by something that fucking fast can still, like, fuck you up. So
I think it's a combination of both, but I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Oh, definitely. And so, like, that's how bulletproof stuff works. It, like, stops it from getting in you, but it also, like, spreads out the impact. And so the coat must be doing something similar.
So basically, Percy can still be knocked down as happens.
Yes,
but he's not
that's
dead.
True.
Yeah.
Yay! So
yes, Talia screams Percy's name when he gets fucking shot. And I was like, aw, she cares.
Yeah, she does
She
care.
cares. Yeah, and then what happens? Bianca kills one of the skeletons. Just out of nowhere.
Good.
She whips out her knife and she stabs it, and it's dead. But
right, because they weren't having any effect with the arrows before. They're just, like, going straight through because they know it's a skeleton.
yeah.
And so we're wondering, like, what's going on with that, like, her knife in particular worked for some reason on these guys
did she
who
hit
are...
it in the right place, or...
Right. To use D&D terms once again, they are, in fact, immune to non-magical damage. There are some enemies who you can't hit with non-magical weapons, that kind of thing.
Or maybe she found
anyways.
its Achilles heel. We don't know.
Yeah, she could have hit it in a
true.
special spot. Like, that's what she says is lucky stab.
Yeah.
But,
And I can't say anything, so...
yeah. I'm just trying to, like, talk around it entirely, so let's just move on.
Yeah, so...
Okay.
We've probably already said too much.
It's fine. The boar appears, and does it just kill the skeletons? Or does it just
rakes them aside with its tusks, and then they never show up again. So I was assuming
At least-
Because they're like, broken up into...
oh yeah, they're smashed.
So I guess those pieces can't be put back together.
So they are not immune to bludgeoning either. That's good to know.
It's also a magic boar, so...
Oh, that's true. So could just be a magical type attack.
Yeah.
But it seems more like what's being implied is that, yeah, you cannot stab them. But if you hit it real hard with a club, such as the one that Hercules would hold, you could probably crush it.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is the blessing. We feel very blessed by this, but it wants to kill us. So we gotta get the fuck away.
Yeah, Grover's like, what's your guys' problem? It's wild. What did you expect?
Wild things, they just want to kill you. It's fine.
Apparently, yeah.
And of course, Percy's like, I think this is a Hercules thing. Don't know how he subdued it, but like, we'll see.
We read how Hercules subdued it. It wasn't actually that helpful. I don't know.
He just like picked it up, basically. Like he pig called.
Yeah, he put some chains on it, and Percy's like, damn, I don't have any chains. Okay.
Plan B.
Yeah, and then we said that Aegis kind of just makes it angrier, I guess. It's like, nope, I'm wild. That ain't gonna scare me. And they're sliding. They hop on the thing and they slide.
Percy says, I think I remember it plowing down several cities. I hope Cloudcroft is insured against giant wild boar attacks. I love that line.
Just like making a little joke in his head while he's running away.
That's what all Rick Riordan protagonists have to do. It's very important.
Yeah. Oh wait, first they come to the spot where we find out Thalia's one fear. God, I can't speak. What's her one fear? It's heights. So she's like, nope, I can't go over this thing. but they gotta.
Yeah, well, she's even, like, slowing down, kind of trying to pull back, and Percy's just, like, plowing on with her with him.
Yeah. Percy, no fear. Thalia, one fear. It's the meme. I just keep saying the meme. Yeah, so
So yeah, he tries to get her off onto the bridge, and at that point she just, like, stops cold. Like, she screams. She cannot do it.
I can't do it.
And so he just, like, pushes her down the hill.
How do y'all feel about heights? Are we good?
I can deal, but I'm fairly uncomfortable with them. Like rock climbing, I can really get my heart moving, and not just from the exercise. but like, you know, that doesn't, like, stop me from, like, climbing up stuff, getting on an observation tower or whatever. But, like, I definitely have, like, some of that.
I'm okay. Heights don't really scare me too much, but I mean, yes, if it was a decision of like, I now need to just willingly leap off this cliff, then
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
I would definitely freeze. I would put the brakes on.
I'm okay.
But could you cross, like, a big bridge, like, purposefully?
Yeah, I could do it. Is it like a stable bridge, like, or is it like a rickety one, like in Shrek?
Like this one's like trains go across it.
Okay, yes.
But apparently Boar can't, so I guess I don't understand that.
They can't cross running water like vampires.
I'll cross that bridge.
When we get to it.
Yeah, I'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Am I confused? Because I just realized that it's supposed to be it's a train bridge, right? Am I?
It says it says a weird word. It says trellis or
I
something?
was confused on these words and, like, where they are.
I was pretty sure that they were following the tracks, so I was assuming that it was a continuation of the tracks.
Yeah.
And that
it's a covered tunnel, and then there's a bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm assuming
and then
that this is
I don't know.
Well, there's the bridge goes into the tunnel. I'm assuming that it's tracks that just continue, like, right through the tunnel in the mountain. And so, like, the drop outside just means that it's, like, on a cliff type area, but, like, the bridge goes out over this stuff.
Yeah.
That's how I was understanding and visualizing it, because they were following the rails. But I don't actually know. Because they do use, like, a specific word, and I didn't know that word either, and I can't find it.
I can't find it now. Did we make it up?
I'm also positive that some kind of word was used, and I
did
not know it, and so I don't remember it.
But it wasn't trellis. It was something like that, I feel like.
It's definitely not trellis.
For sure.
Trestle bridge.
Trestle bridge.
Trestle bridge.
Oh.
Let's Google that.
What's a trestle bridge?
In ancient Greek mythology. I'm just kidding. Trestle bridge.
Is it trestle?
Yeah.
Does it have a
It's
T
got a
in there?
silent
Okay.
T, perhaps.
Yes. So it looks like I was correct. I think that is just like a...
So it's like just a train track bridge, kind of, yeah?
Well, no, the wiki is saying that it's like the type of frame that it's built on, like the type of tripod support. But I feel like in popular media, you usually see that style of bridge used for tracks.
Yeah.
But I might be making that up.
I think I know what it is. I think we're good. We spent
More
so much
bridge
time
talk.
about this bridge.
Yeah,
We're almost there.
Sure had some tangents on this episode.
Sorry.
So the fun thing about this is that Thalia...
It's not you. This is just how we act.
Yeah. Thalia is the daughter of the Lord of the Sky, and she's afraid of heights. Isn't that funny?
Isn't it ironic?
Which, knowing fictional characters, clearly there is some, like, horrific backstory there that I don't remember, so I'm excited to get into that.
Yeah, something terrible.
I don't recall there being one. I could
Really?
be wrong.
Yeah, and
I think she just is.
because I don't recall it either, but that just feels like what you always do, especially because she's, like, the daughter of Zeus, so you're like, oh, clearly there's some trauma that has made her, like, afraid of her own domain, the tragedy, but...
You know what?
But maybe
There
Rick
should
didn't go for that trope, so who knows?
You know what? You know what I would do there? I would, make, like, there's, like, a short backstory about how Hera did something to Thalia specifically to make her afraid of heights. Because, like, you know, she hates children of Zeus because of all his little escapades, sexcapades, if you will.
God.
Yeah, so we must use this blessing from the wild. Finally, can we get on this fucking pig and ride west like pig cowboys?
Like a pig cowboys.
It's so funny to me that Grover, like, knows that's what the pig is for. And, like, I guess it's convenient. It does solve an issue we were having. So good. Yeah, they were able to do this because Grover makes a magic apple that the pig... Because obviously it's not a tame pig. You can't just, like, ride it like a horse. You've got to have, like, a stick for it to follow. Carrot on a stick, you know, like they do in the cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's actually a floating magic apple.
I'm just imagining, like, I mean, this is a big pig, but there's still, like, 5 of them on board there. So how I'm imagining this going, like, Grover's obviously in the front, but I'm also imagining Percy being the one who's has to be on the back, who is just, like, bouncing the most, and is just like, this is so uncomfortable, I hate this so much. And he's almost falling off the entire time.
This is not going to be a pleasant ride. There's no way.
That's just, I don't remember if that's how it goes, but that's how I imagine it.
Percy has already ridden a Pegasus for hours recently. Like, he's gotta be, like, hurting already.
Oh, yeah.
Surely.
And he definitely rides it bareback, because what are saddles in this world?
They don't have a giant boar saddle.
We don't have an Appa size saddle around.
Yeah.
Oh my god, wait. Did they ride a pig in Avatar? Now I'm thinking.
I feel like there was a wild pig for sure in Avatar.
I think
there was definitely a wild pig at one point.
I'm trying to remember, because I feel like there was, like, some other guys who were riding, like, large pigs, but not, like, that big.
I think you're thinking the rhinos.
Yeah, I think I am. The rough rhinos.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just, like... They were definitely a bunch of different animals that they rode in that. And I'm like, that's what this gang is doing.
Oh, yeah.
They have their Appa, but it's like a wild Appa.
which is terrifying. Yeah, that is a scary thought. What if Appa turned... I've never once crossed my mind when I watched Avatar. Like, what if Appa turned on them? I was like, it's not... That can't happen.
No, he's too chill.
That wouldn't happen.
Appa's
a good boy.
Appa is the dad friend of the group. He is their dad. He's just too chill.
Okay, so we've reached the end of the chapter, and Zoe explains to Percy, because Grover's still, like, acting, like, vaguely weird, and so she tells him that she recognizes the presence of Pan, because she's old enough that she's been around since before a god died.
Yeah, you think she knows him personally? She should help Grover search for Pan. I think, like, they're besties now, right? They got coffee together that one time.
Yeah, totally. She totally has no issues with going out and doing that and not hanging out with Artemis and her girls.
Yep, totally. You know, if Grover wasn't a creep around the Hunters of Artemis, I'd be like, he should get them to help him search for Pan, because Pan's a wild animal.
We cannot trust this boy around them.
Pan is a wild animal, right?
Yeah, they'd be great at it, I'm sure. But
Grover, I don't trust him.
If they cared about that sort of thing, you'd feel like they would have done it already.
Yeah, they would.
And maybe they have. Like, maybe, like, when they're not, like, busy with, like, some other shit, Artemis is like, all right, let's, like, check around and see if Pan's anywhere.
No, the problem is that Artemis is like, well, now I'm the only god of the wild, so I don't need him stealing this title.
Do you think Artemis would do that? I mean, maybe.
I have no idea. I'm just making shit up.
Okay. Anyways, we did it. That was the chapter.
We got through the fucking chapter. Oh my god. Yeah. Any other thoughts, feelings? We're on a
I liked it.
Good. I'm glad that you're having a good time with it.
I am.
Like, I feel like some of Rick's other books, like, do skew more for an older audience. Like, I almost forget, like, how, like, YA these books are.
Yeah.
Just because I'm so used to them.
Sure.
And so, like, I can definitely understand that, like, for a lot of people, they're not gonna click as easily. But if you're having a good time, then I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah, I definitely will be reading from the book the rest of the time and not listening to the audiobook. I had to do it in a pinch.
Probably a good choice.
I did it in a pinch. I mean, I can read faster than that doofus talks to me anyway. But, you know, I had so much driving this week and so much little free time that I was like, it's you and me, Percy.
This is the one audiobook we don't recommend.
I wonder if it is the same guy throughout each of the audiobooks.
For the first 3, at least,
yeah.
Yes. So I'm assuming he did the whole Percy series.
I mean, that means, like, people really liked it, and he kept coming back for more.
I don't know. I really would enjoy if we got a revamped version sometime soon. Like, you know, there's like 4 audiobooks for Lord of the Rings. Like, Can't we get like something nice for Percy Jackson, please?
We've gotten new covers a few times for these books. Come on, let's get some new other stuff.
It's time.
It's time. And you know someone would do it. A fan would probably do it for free and probably has. So
Yeah.
And with the series coming out, come on, redo the audiobooks. This is a call to action.
Please.
Redo the audiobooks, please. Rick, if you're listening, please have someone redo the audiobooks.
I would like to listen to them so badly, and yet...
Yeah.
It's pretty cringe. Like, it's something I really had to get used to, and I think not everybody could get used to. Like, Jason, like, begged me to change it after a couple minutes.
Yeah, I do get used to it, but at the same time, it's like, it makes the story actively less charming.
Yes, it does.
At least that was my experience, like, just switching back and forth between them.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I really like this when I started reading it again.
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah, great. But now his stupid voices are stuck in my head.
Oh, no.
No.
Especially when I read Zoe, it's like, come with me, boy.
Every time she says boy, I'm gonna hear that. And like, I don't mind, totally.
God. I'm erasing it from my memory currently.
I think that's funny. I think that is just funny, kind of.
It is funny. It's a wee bit distracting, but it is funny.
Well, now that we've talked about our Aunty plugs, Leela, do you have any media that you've been consuming lately that, you know, you would plug?
Yeah, I do. I was thinking about this. So I have been watching, Jason and I have been watching Aunty Donna's Big House of Fun on Netflix. Have you guys heard? Aunty Donna is like I have to say it with that accent. Aunty Donna. They're an Australian like comedy trio, and I think they've been doing stuff like on YouTube for years. Their YouTube's very hilarious. And then I'm sure they've been doing stand up together and separately for a long time. It's just 3 Australian dudes that live in a house together. It is absurd. It is ridiculous. And they do a lot of different like crazy characters. It's like sketch comedy, so if you don't like that sketch, it's like probably over soon, and the next one you might like. It is, I mean, like, it takes a lot to make me like really laugh hard at media, and they are surprising. Like they will surprise you, and at least for me and Jason, like, made us like cry laughing. So highly recommend Aunty Donna's Big House of Fun on Netflix.
Excellent. I am writing that down because that sounds like something I would enjoy.
Yes, very. And if you don't have Netflix, their YouTube channel is hilarious and has a lot of similar vibe of content. So
excellent. I will check that out. Thank you.
Oh, and where can the people find you, Leela?
Yes. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at Leels for Reels. Yeah,
nice.
And on the restricted section sometimes.
Oh, and
yeah, I guess we didn't really introduce you as a podcaster.
It's okay. People maybe know, but
you mentioned it a few times. Like in
that's
passing.
true. Yes, if it hasn't been extremely obvious, I am a regular host on the restricted section, which is a pro-trans Harry Potter podcast that has new episodes every Wednesday. I'm not on every episode, but I'm on many of them. So if you liked my dulcet tones, and if you like that expression being used ceaselessly, then definitely give us a listen.
I think that's the only way that Christina describes people's voices is like dulcet tones.
I think it's like a safe compliment, you know, like I like it. I like people to think of, but I just know that that's not an accurate description of my voice. My tones are not dulcet. I would say Brooks.
I don't even know what dulcet fucking means.
I think I always thought of it as like kind of smooth and almost like soothing. Like I think Brooke has some dulcet tones.
Yeah, sweet and soothing. Often
Sweet
used
and
ironically.
I would describe your tones as dulcet.
Aw.
I think you're the dulcetest.
Oh, thank you, Ray.
Dulcetous?
Dulcetous.
Okay.
Is that like Jewess? Like dulcetess? I can say Jewess because I'm half Jewish. Okay.
Mm-mm.
I just wanted to like put that disclaimer out there. I'm not, yeah.
All right.
Excellent.
Well, my plug is gonna be iZombie, which I recently rewatched because, you know, I was like, I gotta get into some spoopy shit. This is a show about zombies.
Yes,
it's not super spoopy, but there are zombies, so that's close enough. Yeah, so, I just, you know, it's a fun show. It's like a detective show, but the main character is a zombie, and she eats the brains of the murder victims and gets their memories, and that helps her solve the murder. Yeah.
I've only ever seen a couple of episodes. Doesn't she have someone, like, in the morgue who, like, cooks the brains to be more palatable for her?
She cooks the brains herself.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
She does it herself?
That's the fun thing in every episode. There's always a 2-minute montage of her making the food. And it's just, like, so cute. And then she has to put hot sauce on it because zombies, like, they don't have taste buds, like, great taste buds. So they have to put hot sauce on everything. It's just
to get some kind of flavor in there.
Yeah, it's just a cute little thing. I guess so. There are some things that get kind of topical as later seasons go on. I think by season 3 is when there's a bit of a pandemic going on. So okay. Just to be aware, there is some stuff about that, and also they might put something in vaccines. So warnings on that,
God.
But
Ooh.
the show is very like light and fun most of the time. It's just some topical things. I first rewatched it in 2020, and I was like, "Oh, that hits me right now. I'm feeling some feelings that are not great." But most of the time, I do enjoy the show, and I just love Rose McIver, the main actress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's adorable.
Yeah, massive crush on her. Ray, what is your plug?
Okay, I was gonna go for a podcast again.
Wow.
There is a show by a gentleman named Kirk Hamilton, who is a musician who does strong songs, which I was like listening to recently, and I was like, I do want other people to listen to this. I find his personality and voice to be very soothing. And it's sort of a music appreciation / music theory podcast, but it's like very approachable. He talks about one song per episode, unless he's doing like listener questions, that sort of thing. So he'll have some other stuff mixed in there. But normally it's an episode on one song by one artist, and he'll just go through it like piece by piece, like this is the opening of the song, here are some of the musical elements, and he might recreate the musical elements so you can hear them like individually. And like I just really enjoy it because like I really enjoy being forced to listen more intentionally and just like, music appreciation, just like appreciate like what each song is doing. I find it more fun when I know the song prior, but so if I would recommend just like checking out the podcast and seeing if you can find any songs you know. He did like September once by Earth, Wind and Fire. You know, do you remember the 21st night of September? So
nice.
So like I'm sure everyone knows that one, or at least something in there. So I'd say check it out.
Sweet. That sounds super interesting. I definitely will.
Thank you.
Very, very cool.
All right. I think we did it. I think that's a podcast.
I think it could be a podcast. But yeah, There's a blessing from the wild coming right now. You guys have to get out of my fucking cabin so I can, like, go ride on this boar.
Yeah?
Oh, let's...
I don't even know what to say to that one.
Oh, well, come on, Ray. Let's
Okay.
let's get out of here.
I'm actually down. Like, 100%, let's fucking run.
Run away!
You can find this podcast socials at Of the Eldest Gods Pod on Instagram and at Of the Eldest Gods on Twitter. You can send an iris message to us through oftheeldestgodspod@gmail.com. If you'd like to support us financially, join us at patreon.com/oftheeldestgods. By becoming a patron, you can join the Deus Ex Media Discord server, where you'll be able to chat with us and other listeners about episodes and anything Percy Jackson related. Our $5 Patreon tier also gets you access to Against All Odds, our monthly bonus show. There, we'll talk about a wide variety of topics, which usually have something to do with mythology. No promises. You can check out our merch store on TeePublic to find custom designs made by Charlie. Or, if you cannot or do not want to support us financially, we'd really appreciate a rating, a review, or letting your friends and followers know how much you love the podcast. That really helps. You can find me, Ray, at HeyHeyRay, spelled R-A-Y-E, on Twitter. If you want to hear more from me, check out Barbie Movie Slap, a podcast where my co-host Ted and I discuss Barbie's cinematic universe.
You can follow me, Charlie, at GreenPixie12 on most platforms, but on Twitter, I'm at GreenPixie123, which I'm totally not salty about. I also have an art Instagram that I sometimes use at GreenPixieDraws. I sometimes do the YouTube thing on my channel, Charlie Mack, that's M-A-C-K, and I also have another podcast on the network called Fandoms Gone Wrong, where my mom and I talk about movies, TV shows, books, whatever other fandoms we enjoy. You can find that on all the major podcasting apps. Our music was written by Isabel Strauss-Riggs and recorded and edited by Ian M. Riggs. You can find Izzy at Kane_I, that's I as in the body part, on Instagram and Twitter. She also currently makes video essays on the YouTube channel Kane I. Feel free to message her about making music for your project or editing your podcast.
Of the Eldest Gods is proud to be a part of Deus Ex Media, which features great podcasts like The Restricted Section, a chapter-by-chapter Harry Potter pod with lots of spoilers all the time.
What's up, potheads? We're the Restricted Section, a raunchy, rowdy, rambling, unabashedly pro-trans rights Harry Potter book club podcast hosted by a bunch of nihilistic millennial assholes who are desperately clinging to childhood fantasy as a way to escape the monotony of our 9-to-5 work culture and the inevitable extinction of the human race at our own hands. Isn't it wild that this book series was spontaneously created by the gods and has no actual author? The Restricted Section features a bunch of nerds with potty mouths rereading the Harry Potter series for what has to be like the 3rd to 20th time, and discussing the way the story and its themes have stayed with each and every one of us into our adulthood. We would love for you to join us every Wednesday wherever pods are cast.
Of the Eldest Gods is based on the series by Rick Riordan. Right now we are discussing Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Remember to follow us on your favorite podcatcher and meet us back here every Thursday.
Sorry, give me 1 second. The Roomba's threatening to invade my space. One second.
God.
Deus Ex Media.